Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video I wanted to talk about Linux in general and what you see when you see YouTube videos from people who make Linux. Now you might think when you see these videos that everything went swimmingly and we just create these videos and all the commands come off the top of our heads and they all work first time and it's all seamless to us. And if you're a new user, you might think that this is straightforward for us and everything just works, and it might become a bit disillusioning for people who are new to Linux, wondering how they get to the same level. So this week I've been using MX Linux and I was going to do videos on various subjects this week, and I've decided to change the subject because I've hit a few snags. So I'd like to say to start with that rarely do these things work straight away. Quite often you'll record a video and you end up stitching bits together, or you re-record the entire thing because you've forgotten something, the command you typed wasn't the right command, or you've forgotten the command, or sometimes you have to actually look up the command, and I just wanted to explain that is the case. So this week, as I say, I've been using MX Linux. It's the first week using MX Linux with KDE, and there were my initial plan this week was to do a video based on some of the comments that people left in my YouTube comments and actually answer them. So recently I've done a video about W-Droid, and somebody asked me whether the Call of Duty mobile game worked well on W-Droid, and so I thought what I'll do is kill two birds with one stone. I'm using KDE on MX Linux, so I thought if I'm using KDE, in my previous video about W-Droid I mentioned that under GNOME that the desktop icons weren't clickable, and they just crashed W-Droid, and therefore if I could try it on KDE then it would work fine. I could show you that working. So what actually happened was the first step was to boot MX Linux into Wayland mode, which you can actually do. It's perfectly straightforward. You boot into the login screen and then you can choose in the bottom left hand corner which of the desktops you want to go for. Now by default it's the X11 and that works perfectly fine, but then you've got the Wayland one and you can log in to that. The trouble I had, which is a problem I've had with Wayland and I think is a continued problem with Wayland, is that I couldn't get a screen recorder working. Now I could use shaky cam, which is where I point my phone camera at the screen and record it that way, but I ran out of time really with all the things I tried to do this week, that I haven't been able to record a suitable enough video to put out there. And I thought actually let's just change the focus and talk about the problems that I've had this week, as opposed to rushing out a video of something that's hashed together. So the first problem I had therefore was trying to get a good application working with Wayland that can record screens. Now on my Ubuntu video I used OBS and that worked perfectly well, and Ubuntu was using Wayland, so you'd think use OBS again here. Now I know for Wayland things like Simple Screen Recorder, Voco Screen, they don't work at all. There's one called Kuha and I had very limited success with that, but I thought OBS, but I hit a number of problems with OBS, and the main problem with OBS was trying to actually get it to use the pipe wire for recording the screen. It just wouldn't do it. It basically kept crashing. I looked up the errors and I tried looking on Google, and I tried looking using ChatGPT to come up with some ideas, and nothing worked. I've tried lots of different things and spent many hours. So if you're one of these people that think YouTubers just come up with the answers straight away, you'd be wrong. Sometimes I spend quite a bit of time looking for things, especially because I jump around distribution so much. I think if I stuck with the one distribution, then I would probably have every single thing just like that. But when it comes to jumping around MX Linux, I've hit a snag with OBS and couldn't get it working. So the next thing I thought about was W-Droid itself, and I tried getting W-Droid working, and again in this case that wouldn't work either. So two videos there that were basically out the window for this time being because I couldn't get either of them working. So I did think that with the Wayland screen recording thing, what I could do is use another computer and remote desktop on or VNC on and then record from the other machine. So then I thought, okay, let's create a video showing how to remote desktop from the Windows PC onto a Linux PC. And whilst I've got that working, and there is a video coming out this week, and there's probably going to be a couple of follow-up videos as well, because I've got quite a lot of content there, it's just not all formatted. It took quite a long time to do. Now XRDP is quite straightforward generally, but when you're using MX Linux, you've got it runs in X11 mode, and it doesn't run with system D. So the first thing I did was switched. If you go into the advanced options in the grub menu, then you can boot into system D for MX Linux. And once I was in there, I then showed the commands that you use for installing for XRDP. But normally you can install that and you can start your desktop and then you log in and everything works fine. But for some reason, for MX Linux, that wasn't the case this time. It required another piece of software, and that's all to come out in the video coming out this week. And yeah, so again, not straightforward. I tried other tools as well. I thought I'd got a video coming up where I show how you can use AnyDesk on MX Linux to support a Windows PC and vice versa. So the idea being that you as a computer user, you know, if you need to support your relatives' computing needs, you can use Linux to do that on their Windows, and likewise if you know someone who's using Linux, you can show them how to install AnyDesk so that you can log on to their machine. I've also created some content about VNC. I've again ran out of time with that. What I wanted was a video that was more generic. I could use MX Linux, and it's got a menu where you can just install the VNC server and it will set it up for you. But what I wanted was something more generic that you could use across multiple distributions. And again, the thing I came up with there is MX Linux uses the init system, so you kind of then have to do two videos, one about init, one against system D, and then there's a lot of setup depending on which VNC you use. So you could use real VNC, but then that's actually a proprietary bit of software. You can use type VNC, that requires a bit of setup. You can use the one that comes with MX Linux, and that is a lot easier to set up. And of course then you've got firewall settings that you need to set up for both XRDP and VNC, so that requires some knowledge as well, so I had to factor that into my videos. And all in all, you can get to a point where you've got a hell of a lot of content but no actual video that's worth at all. So this video is basically to say to people, don't despair if when you try things out it takes you a few hours to get things done, because even though I create these YouTube videos, they might only be 10 minutes long. Sometimes they've taken 2 or 3 hours to actually create, and sometimes I have content that I just throw away because I haven't managed to resolve the issue. So I just bin it. And that's really it. That's the end of the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User. echo start plasma X11 and then you output it to...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.